Hey, folks, it's Dave here, and how y'all liking the Super Wild Card Weekend? Yeah, Super Dud Card Weekend. If you ask me, there's been no games that have been worth watching. Um, Even the ones on the P Network, which I don't have, and I tried to get I wanted to watch the cold weather game just to see the hubbub. -6. That's pretty darn cold. But alas, I couldn't figure it out how to get it going. The whole peacock thing and whatever. I hope that failed because I don't want to see that again. I really don't. I'm just kind of checking my. I don't want to see that again. I really, really, really don't want to see any more games on anything but network TVs. That's where it belongs. I mean, ESPN maybe, but once you got to start streaming some things, that's really kind of pushing the limits of what's going on. And I know they were doing that with Amazon on Thursday Night Football, and nobody cared about Thursday Night Football. But now it's the playoffs, and it was the coldest game of the year, and it was something to see. And you had Tay up in the booth that everyone wanted to see, and they put it on Peacock. Come on, I went to sign up for it, and I think I had it free. But every time I went to click on, oh, you got to put your email in and create an account and do this and do that, and I'm all set. I'll watch the highlights in the morning, or later on that night. It didn't phase me at all. So I did not watch a single second of the Kansas City Miami game, which turned out to be a joke anyway. But it would have been neat to see another ice bowl, so to speak. But anyway, so aside from the bad playoffs, and there was another one tonight as Dallas just got destroyed at home. Oh my gosh, that was bad. Um, I thought I'd come on tonight and talk about rabbit holes. We've all gone down the rabbit hole one way or another, right? We've got involved in a project, we've got involved with a team. Something just kind of gets us down a rabbit hole, and we sit and we research. And for me, it's a lot of the time it's on YouTube. I'll find videos on teams. Lately, it's been finding articles on the internet, or the old hockey news been going back and finding things on. But you find out something about a team, about a player, an organization. So something triggers something, and then you just go right down that rabbit hole. And I want to talk about that a little bit tonight. As Michael stops by and likes watching Jerry Jones and the Cry Boys get drilled by the Packers. Yeah, well, there's some teams that you like to see lose no matter what. I kind of like the Cowboys. I like the Packers too. I really don't. Actually, I think I have a Packers hat I should have put on tonight. That would have been kind of fun. Uh, I didn't really have a beef either way with whoever won. I just wanted to sit, I this weekend because of work and everything. I had this weekend to kind of chill out and watch some TV for a change. And every game was bad that was on a TV that I could watch. Every game was bad. There wasn't a game that come down to the final drive or a field goal or nothing. It was bad football. So I wonder if expanding the amount of teams in the playoffs is just going to produce this, which is garbage football, garbage games. You get teams in there that maybe shouldn't be in there. Although the Packers upsetting the Cowboys was an upset, but Miami couldn't beat anybody over 500 this year. You know, they got destroyed. There was the other games. I don't remember who played the other games because they were so bad, but none of them were close either. The home teams beat up. Oh, the Browns lost. They got destroyed. So it's like so far we've had nothing but duds. And we still got 2 or 3 more to go, and hopefully something's going to be good as VL stops by here and take that Bucks banner down. Yeah, fly Eagles, fly. Well, I don't see any problem with the Buccaneers tonight for the Eagles. Uh, I know they've been slumping, but Tampa Bay was what 500, and they were in a bad division, so they won, but they won the division, but yeah, it's kind of crummy division to be a part of. Anyway, so let's talk about rabbit holes here as it pertains to our gaming on our tabletop of the PC. So I don't know how I stumbled on some World Hockey Association stuff probably started with, me looking back at old hockey news articles and just reading about that and learning more about what happened between 72 and 79 when the WHA started and they grabbed the NHL players, which teams that affected the most. And then, when they merged, what happened with the merge? And, I'm finding out why so many of the WHE teams were so bad, except for the Oilers. I mean, I know they had Gretzky in a whole bit, but boy, I tell you, the other three, the Northeast Whalers and Jets, they were terrible for long stretches. And you wonder why. It's like, why would you want to join a league and just be a doormat for 10 years? That's just, you're not going to sell tickets. You're going to lose money. And the NHL should have saw through that, but they weren't smart enough at the time. And, why bother letting the teams in? Just let the league fold. If you're going to punish these teams forever, then, uh, they did it right with Vegas, maybe overdid it with Vegas to at least let Vegas be, what's the word I want to say, competitive to a point where they worked things around and got to the finals. So good for Vegas on that. So they did it right this time. So they didn't let Vegas go in and just get destroyed. Seattle not doing as well, but they're still not getting destroyed like the teams in the 70s. But anyway, I've gone down a rabbit hole with the WHA teams. I go down the rabbit holes with the Seals and the Scouts and the Buccaneers and all the bad teams. Right now, I was kind of down a Roger Clemens rabbit hole where I was playing some 86 Clemens, but I'm just not, no matter what game I play, I'm not doing good. And it was nice to get an email today from someone who said that he was playing the 86 Red Sox in his game and they were bad too. So I'm like, I don't feel so bad now. But let's talk about rabbit holes, shall we? So I started to watch highlights on YouTube and reading articles on the hockey news. That's kind of how I started this rabbit hole. And it just started to become fun. And I started learning more about the teams and about the players and about the league. And, there were some things I knew and some things I didn't. But, as you get on the rabbit hole, you start learning things. And then you start associating things. And you're like, oh, you put two and two together. Oh, that's how that happened. And whatever it is, whatever sport it is, whatever team it is, a player it is, you start learning a little bit more about what happened. And so with this WHA rabbit hole I'm going down, I started to look around at all the games I got. Cards and dice, computer, whatever. I'm looking over here on the shelf behind me, looking at all these boxes over here. What do I have for WHA seasons that I can play and start to get on this rabbit hole and play some games? So I think I started on Stone Cold Hockey, and I pulled out Cincinnati Stingers, and I played that the other day, and that was fun. I had the Stingers here on the channel, and they played Hartford or something like that, or Houston, I forget, and we just had some fun. And I don't know a lot of the guys on the team, but it was fun to play different teams. It really was. And then I started to pull out some of the WHA. I was looking at shootout hockey. I have a WHA season. I was just pulled out my Action PC and realized I have 3 seasons of WHA on Action PC hockey. So I think I might doll one of them up and play, which means I think I have 5. So they 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78. So they had 7 seasons. So that means if I had 3, I have 4 seasons left to pick up from Action PC Hockey to have all the WHA seasons. So I think I need the middle ones. I think I need 74, 5, and 6, maybe, and 7, maybe. So I want to pick those up and then figure out what teams I want to do. Do I want to kind of take the worst teams, like the Cougars and the Raiders, who are really bad, and have them play like the Seals and the Scouts and the Capitals and the NHL? Or do I want to just kind of play out the WHA? But it's been an interesting rabbit hole to get on, because now what I'm doing, as Keith stops by, hi Keith, and Philip stops by as well, as we just sitting there chatting about rabbit holes. And let me know what rabbit hole you've gone down, by the way. If you're here in the chat live or in the comments afterwards, I'd like to know what rabbit holes you've gone down. And so now what I'm doing is I'm going through all the hockey games I have, whether it's cards and dice or on the PC. And I'm even looking at games that I don't own, because there's a handful of hockey games that I don't have. And I'm going back and I'm looking to see who has WHA seasons. And I've done that with baseball too, when I've been on a kick for a particular team, whether it was the 1899 Spiders or the 74 A's or something like that. And I try to see who has those seasons. Payoff Pitch does not have 74, which is a bummer because I wanted to get that for Payoff Pitch, but they don't have 1974 yet. I've been dropping bugs in Joe's ear to get 74 going. I do have 74. Do I have it in Strat? I think I have it on the computer. I'm not sure if I have it in Cards and Dice. Do I have it in APBA? No, I have 73 in APBA. Why I even got 73 in APBA, I'm not sure. But I went down a 74 rabbit hole, and I was looking around at all the games I got. And I started picking off 70 for the 74 season and some of the games I got, whether it's Cards and Dice or PC. And I'm doing that right now as Sports Time Machine comes by. And so I'm going down this World Hockey Association rabbit hole right now. And so tonight I sat down and I started looking at the games that I have, in the crease and Strat and, on the computer. And then I started looking at the Cards and Dice games. And I'm like, okay, what games, A, do I have WHA seasons for? And B, what games offer them? Hockey Bones, sadly, does not offer not even a single WHA season right now. I heard from Dave, though, that he says he's thinking about this year doing some. So that would be kind of fun to play that out. I do have the one, I guess, say 74, 75 WHA for APBA hockey. I don't think they'll be releasing any more by chance. So there's only one at APBA that I have, and it's kind of a middle one, 74, 75. But I've been just kind of enjoying. You know what it is? I think it's just like the different players and the different teams and the different logos and like the New York Raiders. How cool is that? They played at Madison Square Garden, ended up moving to New Jersey mid-season or between seasons. So I think that's me and my defunct teams. I love all that stuff. I like seeing the old logos. I like the history of the teams and why they left and the hardships they faced. I really do like all that. So I've been going down a WHA rabbit hole, and now tonight I come down here and I sat down. I was like, okay, where can I find WHA seasons? What games do I have these so I can play some of these? And what are some projects I want to do? So I'm going down that rabbit hole, and I'm interested to see from you guys, what rabbit holes you guys have gone down. Are you going down one now? Have you never been down a rabbit hole? They're very dangerous. Some of those rabbit holes, they're very steep. And you go right down, and you get right down, and it's bottomless. It kind of gets to this bottomless rabbit hole. The way I find I get out of a rabbit hole is I end up kind of like curling around and then finding a different rabbit hole and going down that one. So one rabbit hole kind of closes and another rabbit hole opens up, and then you get involved in something else. And that's kind of how I game. Some people get mad at me because I bounce all over when I game, but that's how I game, and that's what I enjoy. Some people are really good at, sticking with one game or one team or one season. And kudos to those people who do that and enjoy that. I, for one, can't do that. I will stick with something for a while, but at some point I do need to play something else. But anyway, going as PJet arrives here, speaking about WHA rabbit holes, I've been enjoying learning about the WHA and learning about the teams, more than I knew. And it's been fun. Like last night, I played 4 WHA games with, what did I play them with? Hockey Blast Express. I do have a Hockey Blast season of WHA, 72-73, I think it was, the first season. And so I played some games last night with the Hockey Blast Express, and they played pretty quick. They were 5-10 minute games. I think I banged out 4 games in about an hour last night and had fun. And then what I did is, after I was done, what I do at night before I go to bed is I go read some old hockey news magazines. And so I went to October 72, and I was looking at the box scores of the matchups that I just played. It was super fun looking at the teams and seeing the names that I just played, because it's all kind of new to me, that league. And then I pulled out my my shootout season, which I think is 72-73. And I saw some of the guys at the top of the card there, lines 1 and 2 for some of these teams. I'm like, oh, yeah, these are the best guys for this team. And so it's been a fun rabbit hole going down here, learning about this league. It's a crazy league. A lot of bad things happened. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I'm saying a lot of bad things happen as far as teams moving and folding and it was craziness. Of the like that's what the 70s was. You know, the ABA was the same thing. In fact, the guy that started the ABA, I think, started the WHA, and and so it was just kind of fun reading those stories there and following those teams. Did I read the book Rebel League? Yeah, I think I did. I think I do have that book, PJ. Now that you mention it, and I think I did read that. I should read it again now that I've learned more about it. You know, I need to go back and read more of that. I actually have the WHA stat book, and we had the author on who talked about that. The college professor from Arizona. I think his name was Scott. It's been a while since we talked to him, but his book was all full of WHA stats, so I could pull that out at any point and find games and probably find box scores from games, and because the Hockey News had all the box scores in there too. Online doesn't. I went to Hockey Reference, and I'm here right now on HockeyReference.com, and they do not have any WHA box scores. So if you click on it and you go to schedules, there's scores only. There's no box scores for WHA on the Hockey Reference site. So I thought that was interesting. Um, so that makes it harder to do some of the as played games if you try to do that. But what's neat is you can get the goalies because Scott's book has all the goalies, I believe, and the Hockey News. If you find the box scores for the game, it shows you the goals and shows you who played in the game as well. And what's been fun about reading about the Hockey News is how the Philadelphia Blazers, you know, with Derek Sanderson, they had John McKenzie, and he got hurt in the preseason and missed the opening. I think he missed about 6 or 7 weeks of the season. So I would know not to play Johnny McKenzie first part of the season if I ever played the Philadelphia Blazers. So, um, but anyway, so yeah, so Marlon says he was all over the place with baseball till he finally settled on replay baseball. It was fun learning about all the products out there. Yeah, Marlon, that's a good point. That's why I play different games. Is it's fun playing different games and learning different games. And sometimes you're in the mood for something. Like right now, I'm on a big payoff pitch with baseball, loving payoff pitch. But then, you know, something I'll pull out season ticket and I'll really enjoy playing season ticket. Tonight, I almost pulled out APA. I'm playing the 78 Red Sox. I'm trying to play every game for the 78 Sox. I think I'm about 7 or 8 games in, and I haven't played it in a while. But I almost went over here and pulled out APA tonight and just played a game of that 78 season just so I could play APA again because I enjoy the APA basic baseball game. I need to get back to the back to basics from Downey. That was another fun one. It's not a very good streaming game. It's something you just kind of play for yourself, and it's kind of a simpler game. But back to basics baseball, I thought was fun. So I went down a baseball game rabbit hole. I guess I still am trying out different games, and I tried the replay. I do like their PC replay game, but the replay tabletop game I kind of fought with, and I kind of put it to the side. As Barbara stops by, another big win for her New York Rangers today. PJet, check out the Alberta Oilers schedule that season on Hockey Reference. They finished 500, but had wild swings of long wins and also losing streaks. Yeah, I was kind of looking around here. I think I was on the 73-74 season. I like looking at the standings. You know, they had the so if I went back to where was I? So if I'm on 72-73, they had what, the 10, 12 teams, and they were pretty steady. And then they had the Golden Blades, and they moved to the New Jersey Knights. So that was kind of a bummer. And the New York Raiders, I think they were gone after one season. Yeah, the New York Raiders only played the one season, the opening season. That's too bad that the New York Raiders only played that one season. I didn't realize that. And then yeah, the New York teams are pretty much gone, right? Because I'm looking at 73, 74, and they had the New York Golden Blades / New Jersey Knights. And then the next season, there's no teams from New York in there. They're all gone. So it was kind of a wild ride for the New York teams. And I'm looking here in 75, 76, still nothing in New York. But there's a lot of split teams like the Denver Spurs, Ottawa Civics. It's really weird to have a team kind of move mid-season. That's the really weird thing about that league. And the Raiders changed the name to the Golden Blades. Oh, okay. Interesting. And the Golden Blades wore white skates. I remember seeing the videos of that. Yeah. Michael says he went down an ABA rabbit hole, but hard to find games that have ABA seasons. Yeah, you'll find the stray ABA game season. I think I was playing Replay PC basketball, and they had an ABA season, which was kind of neat. And I think regular season basketball from Marco also had an ABA season. I think they did. I could be wrong on that, but I think I do have an ABA season from them. And I didn't know anything about the ABA either, but that's a fun rabbit hole I went down. It was a short rabbit hole. I didn't go very deep because I'm not a very big basketball guy, but I went down the hole a little bit and learned about the ABA. Julius Erving over there, and a couple of the teams in that league there who were good. I love the names of the teams in the ABA because they're all different for me. So if I come over here and I go to my my basketball reference, I don't know why they're making me sign in again. I just was on the hockey site and they're making me sign in again. It's kind of weird. All right, but if I go down to my seasons and I look at the ABA here, let's just say 72, 73. I mean, the Carolina Cougars, Virginia Squires, San Diego Conquistadors, Dallas Chaparrals. I mean, this is a fun rabbit hole here. At least some of the teams stuck around for a while. The ABA, Spirit of St. Louis. Yeah, it's kind of neat. Then the last season, the San Diego Sails and the Utah Stars folded, it said. So they kind of finished up in 75, 76. But there were some really kind of fun team names in here. The Floridians in 71, 72. I mean, I absolutely love this stuff because it's teams that don't exist and that they must have a story to tell. And it's kind of fun. The Pittsburgh Condors. I think I actually played. What did I play? Was it Ultra Quick Basketball that I did the first playoffs? Washington Capitals in the ABA. That's interesting. The Pittsburgh Pipers and the New Orleans Buccaneers. I think I played the first ever ABA championship game. So that was Pittsburgh and New Orleans. I did that in Ultra Quick Basketball. That was a 7-game series, by the way. The Anaheim Amigos, things like that. New Jersey Americans. I think that's really kind of fun when you get on these rabbit holes. It's kind of neat. And New Jersey Knights moved to San Diego. Okay, and Hoops had an ABA season, maybe too. Okay, that I didn't know. David Lando stops by, and the Florida team was called the Floridians. Yeah, kind of neat, huh? That's kind of neat. And they had bikini-clad ball girls. Quite a sight. Well, that's something I didn't know. That's kind of neat. That's funny. But yeah. So I mean, I went down a ABA rabbit hole. It's not WAB. It's ABA rabbit hole. The American Basketball Association. Yeah, that was kind of fun. I did enjoy that. Texting me right now. No one should be texting me. Oh, it's a hockey guy. The hockey guys stay up late. It's like when I was in bands, you used to get phone calls in the middle of the night from bands, and same with hockey. We're just up late. But yeah. So like I say, I'm going down this rabbit hole. It's been a fun rabbit hole, but it took me away from my baseball because I was enjoying my '79 season. And then my 86 Clemens replay, I wouldn't say I'm enjoying that because it's been a bad replay. Clemens is not doing as well as he did in real life and things like that. So I really haven't enjoyed that as much. It's still sitting right here, the American League anyways, from 86 if I want to play that. But the WHA rabbit, we'll see how long this rabbit hole lasts. Sometimes I go down a rabbit hole and I'm there for a while. And other times I'm just kind of visiting. Like the ABA. I went down that rabbit hole, had some fun with it, kind of visited for a while, then I left. So, yeah, but I'm just kind of I'm interested in what everybody else has for rabbit holes, because now I'm tempted now to go into Action PC Hockey and buy the last 3 or 4 seasons because they're always on sale. So I could probably get the seasons for $7 or $8, and then and then doll them up and have some fun with that. Ed stops by. Hi, Ed. Been watching some of your music stuff. I have not played drums since we got flooded out here in the cellar, and it's been months. And there's no excuse now. The flood's gone. Cellar's put back together, and I should be playing drums again, and I'm not. I mean, I am in busy season now, so I guess it's kind of tough to find the time. But if you haven't seen, go over to Ed's channel, check it out. He plays some board ball. What was he playing the other day that I saw? I saw that you were doing some Apple hockey on your channel there for a while, and then you're doing some Strat hockey. I'm not sure what else you were playing. I thought you were playing some more hockey on your channel. You did a baseball product not that long ago, but then I think you started playing some more hockey. There's a lot of Strat in his channel too. Strat baseball, Strat hockey. But I think you played some Apple hockey once too. And you were playing was it Pocket Pennant? I think you might have been playing Pocket Pennant too. You were playing a bunch of things, And PJ, let me know when I'm ready to play some Rush on the drum. I will never play Rush on the drums. In fact, I couldn't play Rush on the guitar or the bass. I could play a little bit of Working Man and Finding My Way on the guitar and Bastille Day on the guitar. Not so much the solos, But when it comes to bass, we tried Tom Sawyer in one of the bands I was in and failed miserably. And we just stopped playing it. That's why I got away from Rush. I just finished the Geddy Lee book. I got to do my review on that. But right after Grace Under Pressure, I kind of fell out of favor with Rush because I was playing heavy metal bands and we couldn't play Rush. So I was like, well, I want to listen to stuff I can play. And we were playing a lot of cover tunes at the time. So when they went off in their whatever direction they went in, I went to another direction. But I still love the first, 9 or 10 Rush albums. And Ed is running a Strat tournament with the worst teams in his collection. Yeah, I thought about doing that too. Is what I was doing. Is I was thinking about pulling the worst WHA teams and matching them up with the worst NHL teams, and kind of having just a little tournament with it, like a little playoffs to the king, the best of the worst, so to speak. I was thinking about doing that in Stone Cold Hockey because I have the seasons there, and I could just kind of drop the teams in and create a playoffs. And that game plays pretty quick and it's kind of fun. Ed says he can play some Rush on the drums. He's taught Tom Sawyer once or twice. That's pretty cool. Favorite kind of project? PJ was asking, is it posted on Delphi or something like that? And it looks like another blowout as Detroit leads the Rams. Are you kidding me? Detroit's up 14-0. Yeah, so much for a super wild card weekend. It's been kind of a super disappointment weekend. There's been no games that you can sit there on the edge of your seat, Oh, it says 14-3 now. Yeah, it's been kind of a disappointment. I will say it, but the playoffs, round one has been terrible. And they usually are. Usually you get the teams that squeak in. I expect Philadelphia to beat up on Tampa Bay pretty good tomorrow night. And the best game of the weekend is probably going to be that Pittsburgh-Buffalo game because Buffalo should beat the crap out of them despite the snow. But Buffalo turned into a bad team this year. It's too bad. They get one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and they stink. I was actually looking to play some kind of a football game too. I keep saying I want to pull out either fast action football or second season or solitaire pro football because they're all full play games. They're going to take me over 2 hours to play. And I thought about pulling one of those out and playing it, but as it goes, it's just you think about playing these long games and you're just like, oh boy, it's like, do I really have the attention span for that? And that's what it comes down to with me. Sometimes it's just like, do I have the attention span? If I come down and set this up, is the wife gonna, bug me for something, or is the dog gonna bark, and is someone gonna call me? Or it's like, can I find that time? And sometimes I have it, and sometimes I don't. And as Sportsman Z comes by, happy Sunday night. Sportsman Z's been doing some fun things. I've been watching some of his uploads. Usually they're in the morning. His uploads are in the morning, so I'll catch some of those when I get up in the morning. I'll see Sportsman Z has a video posted, and I'll check it out. He likes to do the Strat as well. He does the Strat baseball and the Strat hockey. I started to veer into Strat Advanced, and I did kind of like it. I still think I like the probably because I'm playing more payoff pitch. I think that flows better for me just because I've been playing it more. Because I did get the Strat Advanced to flow for me, but once I got away from it, I kind of forgot how to play it again. I do like the basic app and the basic Strat. I think they're my two favorites. Gary stops by. Gary is maybe people are already tuning out the football game already. I don't know. It's kind of a bummer. I like the games to be better. I really do. You know what I started playing the other day? It's this one right here. This is the Mike Sealock 2-minute drill. And it comes on a spreadsheet, and I printed out. This is what 1981. I printed out the 81 season. So I got the American League here, and then I got the National Football Conference here. And this is just a quick play game. And I started rolling that game there. And I had some fun with it. It was a good time. I think I got a few games into the season. And I was kind of just putting it into the Pro Football Helper because it's 4 dice rolls and you get your final score. So I was using the Pro Football Helper to keep my scores. And I didn't quite get through week 1. And then that kind of pittered out. It's just because I was having some problems getting the scores in. I was like, oh, what a pain in the neck this is. So, but I did get a little football in. I did play Cleveland, Houston, because Downey Games did release 2023 for game-winning drive, another one of my favorite games. And I played Houston, Cleveland. Cleveland beat them up pretty good. And then I never got around to playing any of the other playoff games, but I suppose I'll probably do that this week now that they have that out. I'm trying to think what else does I don't know if Downey put out. It would be really kind of cool if they put out Momentum Football, a new season. That's one of my favorites. So if I go to Momentum Football right now, and I scroll down to the bottom of the page, no, 2022. They didn't get out 2023 yet. I'd probably pick that up and play the playoffs. I would probably do that. But I haven't gone down the football rabbit hole yet. Not yet. A little bit. I go down the Buccaneer, Tampa Bay Buccaneer 76 rabbit hole a lot. That's just kind of like kicking things down kicking cans on the road. It's just too easy. But anyway, yeah. So let's say we'll talk a little bit more about rabbit holes. I'm trying to think what other rabbit holes I've gone down. Because when I get down rabbit holes, what I do is I tend to look at all my games. I gather all my games and like, okay, who has this player or this season? And then I like to play him in the different games. I really do. Like I like my Reggie Jackson, but when he plays on different teams rather than the Yankees, I enjoy that. So I like playing him on the A's, and I like playing him on the Angels. And so I'll look and like, what seasons was he on this team? Oh, 80, whatever. What do I have for that game? Do I have that season? And then I'll grab a couple of seasons somewhere, whether it's on the computer or the cards and dice, and at least I have them there so I can play that particular player or that team is what I like to do. And that's what I'm doing right now. I come downstairs and it's like, okay, who's got WHA seasons? And, I was surprised that I had them for Action PC Hockey. I didn't think I did, but I have a few for Action PC Hockey. I got a couple for Strat. I think Strat has 2 or 3. And I think I don't know if I have the cards and dice or if I just have the PC seasons for that. Because I don't play a lot of Strat hockey cards and dice. I have a hard time getting that set up on the table and getting that flowing. I just do. So I don't play a lot of Strat on the table. It's mostly on the computer is when I do that. I'm trying to look over here. Like I said, Inside the Crease, PJ brings out, they have 78, 79. Only 6 full teams plus the 2 that didn't finish the season. I think I have that one. I do. I think I have 78, 79 WHA for Inside the Crease. In fact, I know I do because I couldn't find Mark Messier for a while. And he was on Cincinnati or something like that. So, but I do have that. D. Scott Howard comes by as well, taking a break from the football blowouts. Isn't that a bummer? And when you have just, like you have the time, and it's like I had a little bit of time this weekend to sit and watch a little bit of football, and yeah, nothing but disappointments. By the time you sit down, like that game today, was it the Cowboys and who was it they played? The Packers. By the time I actually sat down, we had some dinner and whatever it was, and I sat down in front of the TV, and I'm like, the popcorn out, and I'm like, oh, game over. Put that down. I started watching Family Guy or something like that because it was stupid to watch. It was all over, you know. But so let me see here. One more. What is over here that I did? Yeah. So I went down a hockey bones. I went down a rabbit hole with the Bruins. I started to play the 92-93 season when I was playing hockey bones. That's when I had everything set up over there, and I could set up a game and leave it there, and play a period, and come back later and play a period. Then after work at night, play another period. That was kind of fun to do. Had some really fun games with that one as well. I really did enjoy that. The hockey bones with that. And Jim stops by, and Bill stops by. Bill, I was watching your video earlier today. I didn't chat, but I was in there watching you do your Sunday wrap-up show, and that was kind of fun. Bill does all kinds of things. He does sports as well as wargaming, like ID does. And he says, "Go Pack, go!" Says Jim. Yeah, boy, they crushed him, didn't they? They just absolutely crushed him. And it was kind of fun to watch the beating a little bit. They just marched down the field, kept scoring. I mean, literally, I would get up and go to the bathroom or grab a coffee and sit down, and they'd scored again. It's like, holy cow, they really put up 48 points on Dallas in Dallas. So I was laughing about, is that where Bill Belichick's going to go? Is over to Dallas? Seems like wherever Parcells went, Belichick went. Be interesting to see. I hope he doesn't go to the Jets. I pretty much anybody else I'd be okay with. I'd be okay with Dallas. Don't really care for Atlanta either, So I hope he doesn't go to Atlanta. Oh, SGJ. Yeah, let me say that again. Jamie puts it the best. This hobby is a rabbit hole, but in a good way. He's exactly right. This hobby is a rabbit hole. As we get, we see somebody play a game, or we see something on TV or on YouTube, or read an article, or get a book, and it just sends us down a rabbit hole. And then the great thing about what we do here on the tabletop or on the PC is we can be part of that rabbit hole as we get on the rabbit hole. But we're not just watching. Okay, we're not just watching. We're playing. We can actually play these players and these teams, and we can be part of this rabbit hole adventure in a small way. We can't affect anything, because history is history. But I mean, we can get on and say, hey, I want to play this team. I want to see if I can do better or do worse, or how they're going to play, or and then we go down that rabbit hole. But we're participants in that rabbit hole, and that's a good way that Jamie put it. Is yep, well said. Yep, it is well said. It is so true. And sportsmen, Belichick and Jerry Jones would clash too often at work. That you're probably right. It's too many egos. I think you're probably right. David says he thinks Belichick might go to Atlanta. I do think that he will go to a place that has warm weather. I don't see him going to a place that's cold. He spent 24 years or more freezing in Cleveland, New York, and New England. So it's probably closer to 30 years now. So I can see him going to an Atlanta, going to a Florida team, a California team, something like that, a Texas team. I don't think he'll go to the Cardinals. I don't think he wants to go that far back. I think he wants to go a team that can at least go 500. That's my thinking, because he wants to close in on the Shula record, and he's not going to do it winning 4 games a year. He needs to win 9 or 10 games a year. Some Roads comes by. things are coming by. It's now 14-10 as the Rams are coming back. Oh, maybe that will be a good game. Maybe that's something I'll tune into at the half. But again, I was going down my WHA rabbit hole here, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that and see what kind of rabbit holes that you guys get on. Because I watch some of you guys play, and I follow you guys, on YouTube, on Delphi, and Facebook, and I see some of the games that y'all are playing, and it's kind of fun doing that. I enjoy seeing what everyone's playing. And Ed says, just like everybody else up here, Belichick's retiring and moving to Florida. Yeah. He should go to Tampa to show he can take them to Super Bowl like Brady did. Boy, that would be something else. I really hope, just like I did with Brady, I was wishing the best for Brady. He gave us many good years up here. And I'm kind of hoping Belichick goes somewhere and maybe not win the Super Bowl, but at least get deep in the playoffs just to show people he can still do it. I think just things were so broken up here in New England that it was time for him to go. And some of it, if not most of it, was his fault. Because he's the GM, so he's building the team, and he built a bad team. Let's just call it what it is. He built a bad team because he's got his fingerprints all over this, and the team is bad and it's kind of damaged, and he just kind of ran them down this road here. And so I think it's time to part ways. It's bring in someone else. Let's stop the train from going off the tracks, put it on the track, and go in another direction. Now, whether that's going to get us any more wins or not, I don't know. But I think the way it was going, it was not good up here. And we thank him for everything he did and all this other stuff here. But I think he needs, it's time for him to go. Like Brady. It was time for Brady to go. And there's still people that up here that are so mad at Brady for leaving. It's like, you don't understand. Brady was not going to win any more up here in New England. New England the team was bad. Belichick, whatever he did, the team was just bad. Brady was not going to do it up here anymore. And so he went somewhere else and he showed he could still play at a high level. And I was happy for him. But some people still can't stand Brady up here. They thought he left the team. I thought it was mutual. Same with Belichick. It's kind of a mutual thing. He's like, okay, I can't do any more up here, and we can't squeeze any more out of you. So, if he goes somewhere and does good for him. If New England does better without Belichick, good for him. There's some people that still are mad that he's leaving the team. I'm like, nah, I think it's time. I don't think keeping Belichick is gonna put this team on the right track. I think it's just where we are here in New England with the Patriots, where we are. And I don't want to spend all night talking about the Patriots, but we had 24 awesome years. Well, 20 awesome years and 3 or 4 bad years with Belichick. And so I think it's time for him to go someplace else and try to work that magic someplace else. Is what I think it is. And I think that happens with players and coaches. I mean, how many times you see a player go to another team and they shine? It's like, where was this when you were on our team? Well, sometimes you need a change of environment to go and, maybe you're not getting along with somebody, or maybe it's the area, or whatever it is. Then you go someplace else, you get a fresh start, and it's like, you're in the honeymoon phase and you're all happy again. It happens. It really does. I keep looking over here at my games to see if I have any more hockey games here. Do you know what I did have? I did get Ultra Quick Hockey from Downey. I did pick up the entire history of the WHA, so I can play if I wanted to. I could definitely play some quick play games with the WHA. In fact, I've done some playoffs. I really have. I've done some playoffs with the final score on the Ultra Quick Hockey from Downey. Those are fun if you just want to play some quick stuff there. I know a lot of people want the stats and the full play and the whole bit, but sometimes it's fun. Rolling some quick play games because you can play them all like that. I rolled a whole season one time, 70-71, when Downey's final score hockey. And what was great about that is I rolled every single game, and I even did the playoffs out. And it was fun to see how close I came with the final standings with all the games I rolled. I rolled every single game. And it took me a couple of weeks or so to do. 70-71, there wasn't a ton of teams, so there wasn't like thousands of games, but there was a lot of games, 700 games or something. And I would go and I would print out my schedule, and then I would, that was one phase. I'd print out like a month at a time, and then I would put all the ratings in, and then because then in Downey you have to figure out the the offense defense ratings and home ice, and then get your final ratings. So I would do it in phases where I'd set up the schedule. Then the next phase was to get my ratings and my final ratings, and then the final phase was to roll the games, and that's kind of how I did it. And so at least when I got tired of setting up the schedule and the ratings, I wanted to play, so I played, and then I could roll 30 or 40 games a night, and that would be kind of fun. And then I would input my stats, and that would be that. And so that was another fun project there that I did, but it was a quick play game. Yeah, Belichick has left the fans deflated. I know. I've heard all the jokes about all that. You know, Gary M stops by. Thanks for coming by, Gary. Yeah, I've heard all the Belichick jokes. As we all know, the Patriots were the only team in NFL history that ever cheated. Right, the only team that ever got caught cheating. Right, even though Pittsburgh is the most, according to a couple charts I saw, Pittsburgh is the team that has been caught cheating the most. But when you're winners, you get more focused on. And again, what was that team? Was it New Orleans that was on the road taking the balls in front of the heater and heating them up in front of the heater, which is illegal. But because New Orleans was in last place, nobody cared. So I'll just say that, and I'll step off my soapbox with that. But I've heard all the jokes, and they are what they are. Haters gonna hate, as they say. But anyway, so I'm trying to think what is the next rabbit hole I'm gonna get down. Like, what sport is it gonna be, and what team is it gonna be? It could be ABA, because I got my ABA open up right here, 67-68, first season of the ABA, and I'm looking at the Anaheim Amigos, 25-53, or the Oakland Oaks, 22-56. It could be the ABA version of the Oakland Seals. I might have to look at that. I got to see if I go to Dave Cook Sports. Let me see what he's got for ABA basketball seasons. All right, so I'm going to go to basketball seasons pre-1970. He does got 69-70 ABA. How funny is that? Does he have 66? He does. He's got 66. I'm sorry, 67, 68, and 69. So he must have all of them, I would think, right? So that must mean he has all the ABA seasons. That's interesting. That is kind of funny. Yep, 70 ABA, 71 ABA, 72 ABA. Yeah, so if I wanted to play some WABA, I could go to Dave Cook Sports. That would be kind of interesting. And the ABA does sound fun. It's so different, and there's a couple guys I would recognize, but I just love I love playing the crazy teams. Like, I would play the Oakland Oaks and the Anaheim Amigos. I mean, how fun would that be? It wouldn't be anything I'd want to do long term, but it'd be something I would absolutely do and have some fun with, So yeah, the ABA does some kind of fun. And D Scott's house, if you don't win, nobody cares enough to hate you. This is true. This is true. I mean, there's been a lot of teams I grew up with, like, Yankees and the Canadians. They ruined my formative years, by beating the Bruins and the Red Sox all the time. So there was a lot of anger towards those teams, There just was. And you can talk about all the calls at the Montreal Forum, but it ain't going to change anything. But there were definitely calls that the Canadians got, and a lot of people said so. Even in the hockey news. I read an article in the hockey news, and it said, enough of the officials helping the Canadians. And I think they were talking about 78, 79 when they played the Rangers. It was like, the Canadians were playing the Rangers, and just, you knew there was a penalty coming on the Rangers, and that helped Montreal win a game. He says, enough for the referees helping the Canadians win games. They don't need the help. And so, that gets spread all over the place. It really does. And Ed says, I don't know if anybody goes back that far, but I think I'd be down for an NBA back in the 50s when my hometown had a team. Well, that's what it is, too. Sometimes if you have some local teams, like I know Ron, he's one of the teams up his way played minor league ball, and he likes to play that. I think it was baseball. He likes to play that team once in a while. And Finley owned the Memphis Tams. They wore green and gold. Interesting. The Memphis Tams. Yeah, they were okay. They weren't an original team, and they weren't there in '68. They weren't there in '69. How about '70? Did they get there in '70? Nope, not yet. I'm scrolling through the ABA seasons right now. No Memphis yet. I'm all the way to 72, 73. Yeah, 72, 73, the Memphis Tams. Yep, there we are. Yep, they are green. Boy, it's like a weird hat logo. Is what it looks like. Kind of crazy. Some of their better players, George Thompson, Johnny Newman, Randy Denton, Will Jones, Lee Davis. Sam Cash played 7 games. Pretty cool. Now you know. He was a Sam Cash fan. And Jack says we got 2 pick sixes. Now what is this for, Jack? What game was that? The TAM is a hat, but it stood for Tennessee, Arkansas, Missouri. Oh, that's kind of cool. That's interesting. That's really kind of interesting that they did that. D. Scott says you can set Action PC ABA games have a red, white, and blue ball on the chalkboard. Oh, neat. I know you can do that in replay. In replay basketball, the basketball is red, white, and blue. Because I have an ABA season, and that really was kind of fun. I enjoyed that. The only real rabbit hole I get on with basketball is with the Celtics. You know, I didn't watch much basketball, but I do remember as a younger kid, before I had my license and drove around, that the Celtics were decent. They're the only team that ever win anything. And so I remember going to the Celtics parade just to celebrate something, because the Bruins didn't win and the Red Sox didn't win, and Patriots. Oh, forget the Patriots. We were excited when they got to the Super Bowl, and then at halftime we packed up and we left. We didn't finish watching the game. It was pretty bad. And Digital Dice needs an ABA historian interview. Yeah, we will. We will. There's the book Loose Balls about the ABA. Get that author for an interview. Yeah, we might have to. And we might have to with those. Let me see. There was one author. We were talking to another author, and I forget what sport it was, but we're trying to. We have a couple authors coming on, probably in March. Because Saturday nights, I'm pretty busy on Saturday nights, pretty much through February, early March. So I'm not scheduling anything major for interviews on the weekends right now. For podcasts maybe, but I just want to make sure that I have the time on a Saturday night to properly interview people. And Saturday night seems to be the best time. So, yeah, you like that idea? Yeah, it's a good idea. I'll have to take a look at it. We almost had who's the guy? Was it Dennis, the guy that kind of started the WHA, but also the ABA? We were supposed to talk to him, and he was in his 90s, and he was doing pretty well for someone in his 90s, and he I sent some emails off, and he ended up passing away before we could talk to him, which is too bad. But people said that he loved to talk about the leagues. He would absolutely come on. So I sent some emails off, and by the time anybody ever got back to me, I found out that he did pass away. But that would have been fun to have him on to talk about that stuff. But the ABA, that could be another one, and I enjoy that kind of crazy stuff. So the ABA might be kind of fun as well. So yeah. So anyway, before I wrap things up, let me know either in the chat room here or in the comments. Have you gone down any rabbit holes? What started you down the rabbit hole? Okay, what was the rabbit hole, and how did it end up? How long of a hole was it? Was it a long hole that you kept tunneling down and finding more and more stuff and turn that into something you played on your tabletop or your PC, or was it something quick that maybe just watched a couple of videos on and didn't do much with? Myself, I just feel like I'm being sucked in, like that graphic I put up for the thumbnail. I feel like I'm being sucked in this hole to get on and research more about the WHA and learn about the players and play some games here on my tabletop and play some games on a computer and really kind of learn about the World Hockey Association. And I did read the book. I need to go back and read it again. In fact, you know what? I had that on my Kindle or something like that. So I'll pull that out and I'll have to read that again. right after the Planet of the Apes books that Al sent me. Because Al sent me a Planet of the Apes book. I started to read that, and then I got the Geddy Lee book. And so I had to read the Geddy Lee book first. So I got to read the Planet of the Apes book, and then I'll go back to the Rebel League and read on that again. And that's kind of fun. And I got to pull out my WHA stats book. It's over there. It's a big book, you know. And Ray says that he's going down history of the Hartford Civic Center with his last rabbit hole. Yeah. Yeah, it's fun going down these things. I just watched an hour-long video last night because the football games were terrible. Oh, no, I didn't have Peacock, so I couldn't watch the football game. So I put on YouTube, and I was watching an hour-long video in the 1970s, the whole decade of the Sabres. And it started off with them picking their teams and getting Gilbert Perreault, and then it went, the first few years, how they were bad, and then they got better, and then their cup run against Philadelphia, and then after that, the Islanders kept bouncing them out of the playoffs. So it was kind of a fun rabbit hole to get on and watch the Sabres, the history of the Sabres there, But and Sumroad says he's got an NHL 94 rabbit hole. I'll have to watch in the No Clips doc. Yep. Yeah, I need to pull that out. In fact, I had someone texted me that you can play some 70s seasons on the Sega Genesis, but I haven't had a chance to really sit down and figure out how to do it. It's some kind of a program. I think you play on the computer, then you drop the ROM in, something like that. I think. I just haven't been able. It's something I need to sit down and learn how to do all this stuff, and I just haven't had a chance to do that yet. And I keep looking for a video that might show me how to do it, and haven't found a video yet on that. And there are some full WHA videos on YouTube, And did that video talk about Taro Sugimoto? Yeah, wasn't that the fake player that they drafted, Ed? Was that what it was? PJ would know that. They drafted a fake Japanese player because I think they had to draft somebody, and so they just wrote this guy's name down, and it turned out he didn't exist or something like that. I think that could be right. Oh, that was you? Yeah, I just got to figure that out. I need to I need to figure out, like I say, how to get the Sega to play on the computer here, and then how to drop that stuff in, because that could be a blast to play. I'd really like that. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and do all that yet. Like I had 2 games this week. Wednesday and Thursday, I was up in New Hampshire doing games, and it was fun, but it just takes a lot out of me because it's a whole day that I'm up there. And that was it. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, PJ doesn't know that story. Yeah. I vaguely, I don't know a lot about it, but the Sabres, I don't know if it was when they first drafted their team or when it was, but something about they had to pick somebody, and I guess they didn't want to pick somebody, or I don't know if they were out of money or whatever it was. So they said, okay, we're going to pick Taro Sugimoto from Japan, and everyone's like, who is this guy here? And it turns out he didn't exist. He was just a fake name they put up there just to get people off their back. I think that was the story. I think it was that. And E60 Unrivaled, the Red Wings versus Avalanche, setting you down a rabbit hole. Yeah. 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 I've watched those too. I've watched a ton of games. I've gone down the Summit Series rabbit hole, as you guys know, this 1972 Summit Series, Canada and USSR. I've watched the videos. I've played the games here. I played all kinds of games. I played Shootout. I played Stone Cold with this. I played Action PC, I think, had it too. I played a lot of that Summit Series, and I've had a blast with all of it. Oh, Hockey Blast. I just did that in Hockey Blast. So I get on that all the time. I get on that rabbit hole. And if you heard right, the Sabres brass was bored and frustrated with the draft process, so they just kind of made up a player. And I think that's what it was. Yep, I think that's what it was. And Michael says, I just missed this. My rabbit hole is watching videos from me, Al, Ron, and Tower, which forced him to buy lots of games. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be the pusher, and Ron doesn't either, but just we find fun things, and that's the great thing about this community. And I'll find games from other people. I'll be on other people's channels, like, oh, what's this? I haven't seen this, or maybe I've heard of this game, but I want to check it out now. And But that's the great thing. We just have so many games right now to play. Like all these boxes right here behind me. These are all, like Downey games and things like that. And I just put everything in its own box. And every now and then I pull things out, and that's why I bounce around, because I like to play different games. Like like my payoff pitch. But sometimes I want to play Strata Appa or payoff pitch. I mean, not payoff pitch. Pocket pennant run, and things like that. And like I pulled out in the crease the other day. So I'm kind of doing this 69-70 playoffs between the Bruins and the Penguins, because I was reading an article in the Hockey News from 1972, and it was talking. No, I'm sorry, 1970. And it was talking about how the Bruins were waiting for the winner of the Penguins Blues series to play in the finals, which turned out to be the Blues, and that's Bob Ure going through the air. But it's talking about how the Penguins tied the series up at 2-2. And I was like, what if the Penguins had won that series and went on to play Boston? So I've been kind of playing that in Action PC and also Inside the Crease. I started that series, and it's been kind of fun. The Bruins playing the Penguins, and I'd like to get that like with Appa or Hockey Bones or something, and play that out in a full play game. Play that series out. That would be kind of fun. But that's another little rabbit hole I've gone down. Um, and Yeah, it is all good. I get it, but it is, every time somebody shows you something, you're like, oh, I need to check that out. And it's now 21-17. Yeah, I'm kind of pulling for the Lions. I guess how can you not pull for the Lions, right? Have I seen the mini series they did about the Summit series? It was pretty good hockey as well. It's been a while since I've seen. Yeah, I've seen a lot of shows and documentaries on that. I watched the one where they interviewed the players. I read the Harry Sinden book. Actually, Harry Sinden read it, but the big hardcover book. It's in I remember taking out the Foxwoods. We went to Foxwoods Casino. We just wanted to sit by the pool and get away many years ago. And I remember I brought that book down, and I was reading that book down there. And he goes through like the whole process of picking the teams, and then game by game he breaks it down, and then afterwards he talks about it. And it was a very interesting book there about the Summit series by Harry Sinden. And John down in the Dallas area. Hey, you getting snow down there, by the way? I turned on the Weather Channel tonight because I wanted to see what was going on in Buffalo, and they were in Texas, and they're like, "Oh, we're here in Texas, and we got 0.2 inches of snow, and it's going to cause problems down here." So I didn't know if you were having snow down there. Just wondering. And oh boy, some road says he agrees on the high influence of digital device. Has him buying books on goalies and spiders. Yeah. Yeah, I still got my Spiders book right here. I got my goalie books upstairs in bed. I put them aside to read the Geddy Lee book, but I got to get back to that. I read the Tony Esposito chapter. That was really good. I enjoyed that. There's, most of the things you've heard over the years, but there's always some little nuggets in there that you haven't picked up on. You're like, oh, that's kind of neat. I enjoyed that. Like, I can't wait to read the Roger Crozier chapter, because I just watched that Buffalo Sabres video on YouTube, and it was talking about how the top goalie got hurt. He took a shot to the eye or something like that, and he missed most of the season. So they called in Crozier, and he went in to carry them through the playoffs. And no snow in Dallas, but the high today was 13. Yeah. And he very much dislikes the Cowboys. So today was a good day. Yeah, the Weather Channel was showing it was 19 degrees. And they're like, well, if the rain's falling or the snow's falling, it's going to freeze, and then it's going to be a disaster down there. And we laugh up here in the north that you guys get a half inch of snow and it's a disaster, but you guys are not equipped down there to handle that. It's just, you're just not. And so, we chuckle about it, but deep down, I think we know that, you guys aren't ready for any kind of, inclement weather like that. It just doesn't happen enough for you to have the salt and the plows and the whole bit. So the only good thing is that when you do get it down there, usually it cleans up pretty quick because the warm weather comes back, And okay, so you're living a little bit north of Dallas, so it's a little bit colder. Yeah, I would say that was probably the case. Jamie says his daughter said they might get some snow in Northwest Louisiana. Yes, because when I was looking at the map, on the Weather Channel tonight, they were like, they had this. It was spread out between Louisiana and Texas and somewhere else too. There was like a whole big, big swirl. I'm going to call it a swirl. There was a swirl that was showing where the snow was going to hit. And I was like, wow, it's that really there's going to be snow there. It's like places you wouldn't think there's going to be snow, you know? And yes, podcasts can be bad influence. Yes, yes, they are. They can be entertaining. Oh, the other rabbit hole, just on a complete side note. The other rabbit hole I've gone down, don't ask me why, but on YouTube, and YouTube is the worst. You think Digital to Dice is bad? YouTube is worse than Digital to Dice. I started watching these true crime videos, and it's stuff my wife would always watch on TV, and I'd be like, "What are you doing watching this stuff?" Well, I've been watching them on YouTube, and they're addicting, and they're sad, and it's all about these people that get abducted, and then they find them later, and then they try to piece together who the killer is, and so you're kind of playing detective along with this thing is what you're doing when you watch it. But I've been sucked down that rabbit hole to a point that I've been watching so many of these videos that when I go out and do my normal day, I hear the narrator in my head. Okay, as stupid as this sounds, it's like, so I go in and I go and I grab my milk and I pump my gas and I come home and I can hear the narrator. At 5:35, Dave entered the convenience store and he bought a gallon of milk. He then went put gas in his car, and that's the last we see him on the surveillance footage. I hear the narrator in my head when I go about my day. It's just like, stop. Just stop. I need to stop watching these things. But I just can't believe what people do. It's like, this is the last footage of this girl. She's seen leaving the club at 2 a.m. And you can see her walking down the street, and she's walking with a man, and then she never makes it home. I'm just like, why? Why does this happen? I don't get it. There was one tonight I was watching, and the wife comes home and says, "Oh, we need orange juice. I'm going to go to the store and get orange juice." So she goes to the store. She comes home with the orange juice and calls 911 and says, "Oh, I come home and my house has been ransacked and my husband's been shot in the head. He's dead." And so they come home, they do their investigation, and they see that. So she's got the orange juice in the bag, right? The fridge had a full thing of orange juice. Why were you going to the store for orange juice and ham when there's orange juice and ham in the fridge? That was the first clue. And then they pieced it together, and they said she was describing the place that was in turmoil, and the table that was tipped over. Right next to the table was her husband, who was laying on the ground dead. They're like, she didn't know where her husband was. Couldn't find her husband. But she said that, yeah, the tables are knocked over and everything. Well, he's right next to the table. How did you not see him? So it turned out that she did it. But it was yeah, that's the true crime rabbit hole. And then of course you watch one, and then next thing you know, there's like 50 channels of true crime stuff that they feed you, and you're just like, oh no. But that's the other rabbit hole I've been going down. And John lives in 9 states. He's been only in Texas for 6 years. Kind of like Northerners are able to deal with 6 to 8 weeks of 100-degree weather. Yeah, that's the other thing up here, D. Scott. When we get heat up here, we die. We do. It is, if it hits 100 up here, we're like, it's like luckily it's only a day or two, but sometimes at night it'll be like 9 or 10 at night, and it's still 80 degrees out. Like sometimes I'll leave the hockey rink and it'll be like 11:30 at night, and I'll be leaving the rink and getting in my car, and it's like, holy cow, it's swelting around here, and it's almost midnight and it's still so hot. Yeah, we can't really do that. And some road says got to see Iron Claw last night. Good movie, but of course quite depressing. I don't know about Iron Claw. That I don't know. Digital to Dice is on YouTube, and yes, YouTube can be a bad influence. Yep. Sounds like a good episode of Forensic Files. Yeah, that's what it basically is. That's basically what these true crime things are. But it's a rabbit hole. It's like you start watching these things and you're just like, the creepy thing about it is the surveillance footage. It creeps me out. I get the skeevies because it's like you see the person walk in and then walk out, and then like the guy follows her, and like that's the last footage, and it's just that just is unsettling. It's like, oh, here's a picture of her going into the bar. Here's a picture of her leaving, and then this guy goes out after her, and she's never seen again. And so they try to find out who this guy is, and then they find out that there's surveillance footage of him going into Home Depot, buying a shovel and a plastic tarp or something like that. It's just like, oh my gosh. It's like, what are these people doing? It is nuts. And there was a wrestling movie about the Ben Eric family from the old NWA. The Von Erich family. Yeah, the Von Erich. That's what I thought you meant, Von Erich. Is that Kerry Von Erich and guys like that? They're interesting. Yeah, he was later passed out in the corner booth at China Jade. Yeah, that's one thing I never did. I never did pass out at China Jade. That'll never happen now. But back in the day, it was pretty close. I remember the night my friend left me there. It was like New Year's Eve or something like that. It was during the holidays, snowing out. We all met there for drinks. And can you drive me home? Yeah, I'll drive you home. It's on my way. He left. I'm like, there I am. It's midnight, snowing. I'm out in the parking lot. I was like, where'd he go? Luckily, I have only like 5 or 10 minute walk, Ed says, he goes, it feels like his entire life is one gigantic rabbit hole. My house is full of CDs and records and musical equipment. Oh yeah. So if you're walking around and you see all the music stuff, yeah, it takes you back. I just went down a huge Rush rabbit hole because after I read that Geddy Lee book, which was fantastic, I started watching all the videos on YouTube, and then of course they feed you more, and I'm finding some like demo tapes from some of the Rush albums and how different they are, and even some live recordings. It's like, here's when it's going to be on the album. This one's called Tom Sawyer, and so they played Tom Sawyer before the record was out, and it's a little different, like that part when he goes the river. He doesn't say that. That must have been added when they did the recording, but it's just like you're waiting for that. It's like, oh, that's not there. So I was listening. There's a few things that were very different, and so so I went down the Geddy Lee rabbit hole, watching all his live stuff and the interviews and the whole bit. And just it's fun. I like filling in all the pieces and learning. I like learning. I like absorbing information is what I like to do. And thank goodness for Uber now. Yeah, luckily I was right up the street. I think one of the other guys dropped me off because he was right up the street too. But I was like, where'd he go? His wife actually called me because I posted on Facebook. I said, where did this guy go? He's supposed to be driving me home and it's snowing out. Where did he go? And then his wife like called me or something like that. It's like, do you need a ride? Because he's sitting here home passed out. And I'm like, no, I'm all set. But at least his wife followed up. And you did come up and dine at China Jade with me. Yeah. We haven't been there in a while. They changed hands and they're not as good now. And it stinks. They're right there. I can almost see them here. I can almost see them through the woods, on a good night in the wintertime. You can see the lights from China Jade. But anyway, so I think I might wrap things up here. I just wanted to talk a little bit about rabbit holes and a few other things. As I started going down the WHA rabbit hole after going down the Rush rabbit hole and after going down the true crime rabbit hole. Boy, I tell you, just I could just cancel regular TV. In fact, the only reason I have TV now is because of the wife. She likes she watches a true crime channel now. I know why, and she likes to have the news on, which just kind of putzes around the house, and she likes watching Family Feud like everyone else does after work. But for me, like I said, I go on YouTube and I just go down the YouTube rabbit holes and YouTube University and learn about how to do this. I just learned how to fix my my sound bar tonight on my TV. It kept clipping, not clipping, but clipping out. It's got to be sitting there watching a football game. It's like, and now it's 1st and 10 for the Packers, and I'm like, why does it keep doing that? Why does it keep doing that? And it's like every couple of minutes it would do it, and then I rewind it and it wasn't there. So I'm like, is it Comcast or is it me? And so YouTube University guy says, try changing this setting and see if it helps. And I changed it, and I think I went a good 10, 15 minutes without it cutting out again. So I do like the YouTube University. That's why I try to do some things too. If I find some things, even if they're not game related, if I find out how to fix something, like I found out how to fix my printer to print on both sides. So I did a video on it. I like to try to return the favor sometimes. In fact, my most viewed videos have nothing to do with gaming. Sadly, but D. Scott Howard says he went to a Grateful Dead concert many years ago, still trying to find his way out of that rabbit hole. Yeah, it is fun when you go to a concert, then you start looking up certain things and learning about the band and finding some of the old concerts and stuff, and that's fun fun thing to do. Music rabbit holes, like Ed was saying, the music rabbit holes are a big deal too. You ever seen Professor of Rock? The bald guy with the Kolchak the Night Stalker hat, and he talks about all the bands. I think he interviews people too. He's got a great channel for music. If you've ever seen the Professor of Rock, and he'll talk about like the hits or the one I saw the other day was it was about Heart, and it was a song that Ann Wilson was singing and wasn't coming out good, and so Nancy Wilson started to sing it. It might have been Dreams. These dreams. I think it might have been that one. But uh, Nancy, the guitar player, was singing it, and she had a cold, and they recorded her singing it with a cold, and she really was forcing herself to sing, and it was a little bit raspy and the whole bit. And so they said, well, Nancy's gonna sing this one, not Ann, because it just sounds better with Nancy singing it. And once she gets better and gets her voice back, we'll record it again. So they recorded it again when she was better, and they said none of it sounded nearly as good as the recordings that she did when she was sick. And that's the one that they kept on that song. And it's just, he does stuff like that. Professor of Rock is so good if you like music. He just finds like this obscure song or obscure band, and just there's things that you're unaware of. And it's like, that is so cool that I just learned that tonight, and like I didn't realize that, or they had there was somebody, I forget who it was now, but they said they called in that's what it was. Somebody delivered like a pizza, okay? And there was a piano there, and the kid sat down and was playing piano. And so they called him up and said, "Hey, would you like to play that part on one of our songs for the record?" Sure. So the kid came down, he banged it out and left, and they never found the kid again. And so there's a piano part or a melody or something that this delivery driver for a pizza place played, and they never found out who he was. Or it was something to that. And it was like the stories that he comes out with are just so good, you know? And Michael says he loves the professor. Yeah, it is. Night Stalker could be best cultural reference of the night. Yeah. You go back and watch that now. And I didn't realize it was only 2 seasons of the Night Stalker. Yeah, Al Red Sox fan is a big fan of Kolchak the Night Stalker. I thought it ran for many years, but it was only a couple of seasons that it ran. And you go back now and you watch some of those, and like those were scary. In like 74 or whenever it was, 75, those were scary as a kid. Now they're pretty lame, but back then they were good. I used to like Night Gallery was another good one I liked. I like Night Gallery a lot. That was scary. That one with the painting with the grave that opened up, and you could see the guy and you could hear the guy upside, and every time I looked at the painting would change. That still creeps me out. Does my wife take notes when she watches these true crime shows? And his wife has a notebook with a head of things that don't work. I'm glad that she doesn't. But I'll keep that in mind if I find any notebooks with her taking notes on what doesn't work. Yeah. But the true crime stuff, it's very sad, but it's interesting. The other one I saw was the camping stories. When people go camping in like in the middle of nowhere, and then like the all those I don't know if they're rumors or wives' tales or folklore about the creatures in the forest, and the witches and the Mothmen and all that stuff there, and the Bigfoots and things like that. So sometimes I get on the camping stories one too, and people like have some footage of that. You don't know how real that is, but it's still creepy. I mean, I don't like being out in the woods at night, and hearing the crackling of the branches, because that's something out there. There's something out there for sure. We have woods over here, and at night we'll hear something screaming out in the woods, and I think we figured out it's a fox that screams. But oh my gosh, when he screams, it sounds like there's a person out there getting killed. At least I'm gonna assume it's a fox, because I ain't going out there to check. Sorry. But no, it usually is a fox, because you can hear them. Sometimes you hear two, because they're calling out for the mating thing, so you hear them. And Oh, some road says he's got a YouTuber he follows that does the stealth camping videos. Yeah, I find that they're interesting. You know, when they go out there in this, it's like, hey, we're gonna see if we can survive the night, and it's like 0 degrees out. We're gonna build something from scratch and build a fire and try to survive the night. Or the people that go out and they have a car or a tent and they spend the night, and those are kind of neat. Um, but when the people wake up and they got their phones and they're like this at night and they're like looking around and they're hearing stuff outside, it's like you just don't know what the heck that is, Yeah. And was it basically camps and roundabouts are next to drive-throughs. Yeah. I sometimes will watch the truck drivers, and it shows how like they cook their meals and they wash their plates and they sleep in their trucks at the truck stops and stuff like that. I get on all kinds of rabbit holes. I really do. And D. Scott Howard says his mom living alone in the country used to sit up all night watching the scariest true crime stories. Brave woman. Yeah, no, I don't even do that. I used to watch like horror movies and like ghost stories and stuff. I can't do that now. That stuff that I used to enjoy back in the day now kind of spooks me. It's like I don't like reading that stuff. Like even some of the camping videos. I was watching one today, and the guy, it was a story about this couple that went camping, and his wife got kidnapped and dragged into the woods, and I don't want to hear that stuff. It's kind of too real for me. If it's too real, I don't like it. I like the alien stuff. I don't mind because it's kind of out there, and just the conspiracy theory stuff about whatever. It's interesting and it's fun, and it's far enough out there that I don't think it's really going to happen. But some of the stuff that's kind of, what I'm talking about when it feels like it's real. Maybe the fox is eating someone in those woods. I don't think the fox would eat anybody. We got small foxes. We have big coyotes, but we have small foxes. And Barbara says, that's how it is by me. Really creepy at night now with all the wind. Yeah, we got the wind howling. It's like howling. And it was funny because I had the TV on and there was something on and maybe it was one of these videos and it had the howling wind and I paused it and nope, that was me. Oh, it's not the TV. That was me. I could hear it howling in my chimney. It's like, oh my gosh. Um, and Barbara likes the ghost hunters. Those are okay. The ghost hunter ones I can deal with. What I don't like is when I'm on YouTube and I'm listening to the ghost stories about what actually happened to people and like they're describing it. It's like listening late at night. That's kind of creepy. But the videos of the ghost stuff is that doesn't really that doesn't kind of freak me out as much as some of the other stuff. Just when people have the camping videos and they film stuff, that's the stuff that creeps me out. Like when they're sitting there and they're like, they zoom out and they're like, there he is right there. So you can see the trees. See that shadow, but behind that tree, he's been looking at me. He's been there for an hour now. And it's like it's so kind of grainy and far away that you can't always see it. But sometimes you'll see something move and it's, oh yeah, he goes, yep, you see him leave? He's now he moved to another tree. Let's see if I can find him. I'm like, that stuff there is kind of creepy. Because especially when you're out in the woods there, or if you're at a cabin, it's not like you can just get in your car and get on the highway and get out of there or call somebody to show up. You're too far away. That stuff kind of freaks me out. Camping with Steve. I don't know if I've seen that one on YouTube or not, but there's a few that I do watch, and it's been kind of fun, but it's been kind of creepy too. Because they're like, here's some creepy things that happen. Like the Blair Witch freaked me out. And I know it was, now we found out it was fake. But at the time, they did a good job with that. They did a good job fooling people that these kids were really lost and they found the footage. And that led to a whole genre of found footage movies, which I enjoy, by the way. I enjoy the found footage movie. Just kind of throwing that out there. It's just kind of fun. What was the one, the VHS files or something like that, or VHS? When they go into the place and they find all the VHS tapes and they put them in and you watch them. And those were kind of neat. Those are like Twilight Zones. I enjoyed that as well. But anyway, all right, well, I'm going to jump out here. I'm going to go and maybe catch some of the football game. Hopefully, I have one football game that's good this weekend. I'm going to catch the end of that Lions game, see how they're doing there. But I want to come on tonight and talk about rabbit holes, all kinds of things, mostly the sports rabbit holes that we get on when we game, but also could be anything. Could be the true crime. Could be the camping videos. It could be the ghost videos. Could be anything. We all go down the rabbit holes, and they're very fun and enjoyable most of the time. Most of the time, they're fun and enjoyable to get out. But Anyway, I'm Dave, so I'm going to go poke around and try to find some more WHA seasons and see if I can play some more crazy hockey from the 70s and try to enjoy some of that. And yeah, Barbara, thanks for coming by. Thanks to everybody in the chat room here. And yeah, sometimes just like to come on and have a little lighthearted chat here tonight, and instead of playing some games. So, all right, we'll catch up with everybody later. You guys all have a good night. Bye-bye.